Hello and welcome to nickogartandcomics. In today's episode, we sit down with Micah Myers, an incredible letterer who's worked on books from Image Comics to award-winning anthologies to Heavy Metal magazine. We'll be talking about some of the finer aspects of lettering along with some general comics discussion. Let's get into it.
Okay, so just a general introduction. Where are you from? How old are you?
I am from Portsmouth, Virginia. Been here my whole life, like right on the border of Carolina. And how old am I? 30. How old am I?
Everything after 30 is just a wash, eh?
5 or 36. 35. Well, for the longest time, I used to think for the longest time I was 29, and then one day my wife's like, "No, you're 27." I was like, "Hey, I just got back 3 years. All right."
How long have you been making comics?
So I've been making comics since I started lettering them in 6 years ago. So 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. Yeah, like around 2012, 2013 is when I started getting interested and playing around with lettering. About 2013 is when I think I started getting hired for jobs.
Awesome. Have you always been interested in lettering?
I guess probably not. Well, before I was into comics themselves, no, I wasn't. But when I since high school, I've had a bunch of different jobs, and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then as I grew in comic book, fandom, I kind of thought maybe I could try to be a writer or be an artist. Oh, I couldn't be an artist. I couldn't draw, uh, but just trying something. And I had started going to school for graphic design, and a lot of typography and graphic design applies a lot to lettering. So I started using some of the stuff I was learning at school and some stuff I learned online, and started playing around with lettering, and just enjoyed doing it. And because I also tried coloring, and I've tried picking up coloring a couple times since the beginning too, and I can't grasp it. It just it doesn't sink into me. But lettering just sunk in, and I got the rhythm of it and the way how it worked, and it was fun, and I got more and more interested in it, and it worked out, I guess.
Nice. You're the first letterer we've had on the show so far, so I'm really interested in picking your brain about the field and everything. Do you have a favorite letterer?
It's John Workman. I really like him. I've started. What was that book he did for DC a couple years ago? Mother Panic. It was part of the Gerard Way books. I can't think of what they were called.
Young Animal.
Yeah, those John Workman. But it was it might just the way it looked, the way he did it was it looked great. And then going back, his sound effects on Thor and stuff. This huge crack of Thum and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff looks amazing. There's nowadays Taylor Esposito is a guy that I really look up to, and he's helped me a lot. Nick Shaw, when he was still lettering, was a guy that we kind of started around the same time. His career, was like a rocket ship, and he kind of retired from lettering, but he was loved his work too. Those are all modern guys. Same Matt Krotzer and Zach, Sam. Those are all guys that I guess are peers, but I love their work too.
Have you ever tried hand lettering?
I have, and it was not as successful. I have stupid fingers, is what I like to say. My mind, same thing when I draw. My mind can see it, but my hand just can't. I think if I drew a little bit when I was a kid, and I think if I had stuck with it, then I would have had the practice and everything to being able to draw now. But I just, for whatever reason, I didn't stick with it, and I lost I lost that skill. And if I spent a long time practicing and doing it, I could probably be kind of good at it. But also at this point, it wouldn't pay to be a hand letterer because it's so much of get it done and get on to the next job that you wouldn't get the money you would need for the time you put into it.
For sure. How do you feel about artists putting like sound effects in their like live on the board?
I like if they do all of them, it's great because it does match in with the art a lot better than me trying to or any letterer or trying to match the style, trying to make it fit. But when they do some of them and then they leave some for me to do, then can it can all look very sloppy because there's such great looking ones here that match everything and that just fit in with the art. And then there's the one that I make that's I could try, but it's never going to look quite like it was hand drawn in with the rest of the art. So either if they do all of them, then great, and then if not, then I can do all of them, and it'll at least it'll be uniform look throughout the book.
Yeah, a bit more cohesive.
And I remember like I think I did what was the book we did together? A Few, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think you did the sound effects in that, right?
Yeah, I did a lot.
Yeah, if I remember right, you like your sound effects were always really graphic looking and everything. I'm trying to think of an example. Like a brick wall was breaking or something. Like you would draw the letters like bricks breaking apart, like that kind of stuff. Of course, looks great. And if found a font of that and tried to make it like a breaking design and make style and everything, I could make it look good, but it would never blend in the same way as something that like the artist would do.
Yeah, I think like the biggest influence for me for putting more sound effects into the live art is definitely Francis Manipul. During his Flash run, he'd just do it all the time, and it just looked sick. Like, and it's more part of the art too than which is I don't know. I always like my pages looking as close to the printed page as possible. So any little thing I can do, I'll put it in there. What was the first comic that you ever got?
Um, well, when I was a kid, I used to get comic books in the grocery store, and we would just pick up. Not we never got like a straight run of anything. It was always just issue here and issue there. And looked it up last night. I wrote it down and put it somewhere. It was of course I can't find it now. Spectacular Spider-Man something from like '91. It was Spider-Man fighting Vermin. Um, I think I looked it up and it was Sal Buscema drew it, or Buscema, however you say his name. And oh, here it is. But I do have it. Spectacular Spider-Man 179. That's what it was. Um, but I mean, we would just buy that. We'd buy Spider-Man or Batman, like whatever the grocery store had. We never really went to comic book stores. And then I kind of fell off from reading comic books. Um, and then around 2006, after I was married and had a kid, at least one of my kids. I only had one kid then. Yeah, 2006, we only had one kid. Um, but I was kind of, we watched the movie Comedians Comedy. You ever see that with Patton Oswalt and Brian Posehn?
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, they were going on tour, and while they're on tour, they stop on Wednesdays. They stop and buy comics. Patton Oswalt and Brian Posehn would, and I was like, oh, that's neat. They come out every Wednesday and all this, but I didn't know anything really. And I was like, that'd be like a thing, fun thing to do. Like every Wednesday, I just go buy some more books, and and I was like, I think I'm gonna try that. I told my wife, I was like, maybe go walk around a comic book store, and I did, and I started looking into it and going online and seeing what was going on in comics, and I found, of course, everybody talks about, from like a casual guy, you would see that everybody talks about Watchmen. So I bought Watchmen and read it and loved it because it's amazing. And so when I went to the store, I looked for the same company that was on the spine of Watchmen was DC. So I bought a bunch of DC stuff. So and the week I went and bought it, I got the first issue of Countdown. And somehow I still read comic books after that. Oof, that was a rough one. Uh, I bought some Green Arrow comics and Batman and Flash, stuff like that. And I mean, all those were great. I mean, I still love Green Arrow. Green Arrow's, I think, still one of my favorite characters. It was around the time that the Judd Winnick series was ending and he was getting married. It was right towards the end of that series when I started buying them, and yeah, I just love Green Arrow. But yeah, so I mean, I just started buying, a few here and a few there, and then I was spending $40 a week and even higher, and then I've gone up and down since then because you can't keep doing $40 a week and keep having a family, but yeah, so I just got into it like that. Just you know, comedians of comedy, kind of like, hey, that looks like a fun hobby, and then it became my life pretty much.
Nice. Do you read many foreign comics at all? Like, what's on your radar internationally right now?
Um, I think I mean, European, I mean, like British comics, I think is probably about as far as I go. I mean, if it's translated, then I can read. I mean, I can't. If it's not in English, I can't read it because I don't speak any other language because I'm a dumb American. But maybe there's like heavy metal, which I've also been lucky enough to letter some stories in. I mean that's British, and I've been able and I've enjoyed that a lot. Even when the ones I haven't worked on, I like. And most of the things I like are things that would be, I guess, European or stuff that are brought over by Image or Dark Horse or something, like Giant Days, which is another British or British creators, I guess. I mean, I guess it's published by Americans, but um, I never really got into manga or anything like that. I just I watched like Dragon Ball when I was a kid, but not anything else. Nothing really stuck with me like anime wise. So I don't know. I guess the different format and the different, I don't know, just for whatever reason it doesn't appeal to me. Maybe the lack of color. I don't know. Uh, um, but yeah, so I guess I don't. I guess it's just pretty American. I don't. I mean, there's a lot of foreign artists. Like in Spain and Italy that were. I mean, but they all have been brought over and work in American stuff. I mean, so I know about their art and about their um, writing, but it's all been brought to me where I guess and brought to American comics. So I guess yeah, it's just kind of mostly American stuff.
Do you have any advice for anyone wanting to create their own comics, or specifically any insight into becoming a letterer?
Um, to just do it. I mean, there's a lot of times people will come and ask like where do they need to learn or what books do they need to read or something. And there are books for lettering. Comic Craft made one, and DC has one like a coloring and lettering book. And there's plenty of online like websites and plenty of creator like letterers that have like tutorials, which you should all look at and read, and get as much information you can. But just start doing it. Like there was a long time where I wanted to start lettering, and I'd like, well, I need to get this program, or I need to, get set this time aside. I need to be able to do this. Like I kept making like goals for like what I need to do before I could start trying. And then a year would go by or 2 years would go by, and I haven't really done anything. Just start doing it. Just start making stuff. Just start trying. I mean, I guess that would apply for art and for writing too. Just sit down and start making something and see what happens. Make it and then show it to people and see what they think. Just don't keep going, oh, I got to get the better computer. I got to get the better pencils. I got to get the better paper or whatever it is. Just start making something and keep making it. And I mean, that's eventually what I was lettering. I kept practicing and kept, just doing practice pages and messing around. And then eventually someone hired me, and then someone else hired me, and someone else hired me, and I kept going. But yeah, just quit procrastinating and quit making, you know, waiting for the perfect time and just do it. Otherwise, your whole life's going to go by and you'll be like, oh, I really wanted to make comics. And I'm dead. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's some really good advice for sure. Also, Blamebot or Blambot, I've never sure how to pronounce it. Yeah, they got some really good. If anyone's looking for just some tutorials about do's and don'ts and basic stuff like that, they do have some really good ones. They'll teach you all about when to use crossbars for your eyes and everything like that.
Oh yeah, that's definitely one of the main ways to spot amateur or poor lettering is the crossbar eyes. If you see someone doing that, that means they haven't even like gone around and looked to learn the basics. And that's the most basic thing you need to know and need to remember. If you can't remember to do that, then you obviously haven't gone very long into looking about how to do this job, because that's the number one thing that that every lettering guide will tell you.
Yeah,
That's top of the list thing to do.
yeah, and I feel sorry for anyone who looks at like the early 2000s Marvel and wants to get any kind of lettering style out of it. Do you remember that?
Even in DC and Marvel, even nowadays, there's still like sometimes I'll read a book and I'll be like, man, who lettered this? And I'll look at it, I'll see it's like a professional guy that's done it for years. And it's like, man, this guy, it must have been a rush job or something, because he was not paying attention to anything. He was just trying to get this out the door. And I'm sure there's plenty of times where I've been guilty of that too. I mean, I try not to be, but I'm sure there's times where I just get something done and just don't look back.
For sure. When you look at like your initial early work, how do you feel about it? Are there like any
Not good.
No.
It is not good. Um, there's there was a comic I worked on for. It took over years because I mean the artist was drawing it little by little, and it was like a graphic novel, so it was hundreds of like I think 150 pages or something like that, like like 4 or 5 issues altogether. But but he was finishing it all before it was done, so it took like it was near the beginning of my career, so about 3 or 4 years in is about like when I started getting, I guess I would call like good, or just figuring out like my style or my way. The way I do it now is probably still the way I did it around 4 years in. I mean, I've gotten, you learn things and get better here and there, but then I would see stuff from like the beginning of the book, and just the way the tails and the balloons were and the way I stacked things. It's just like almost I wanted to go back and do the whole book over again, except it would take hours to do. But like by the time I got to the end, I was still trying to make it look like the stuff in the beginning, because you want it to look uniform throughout. But the stuff back at the beginning was so bad. Like it was like that was hard to do, because I was like fighting against instinct pretty much at the end, like the way I know it should be done, but and also the way that I need to do it to make this book look right. It was just like fighting instincts.
Do you have any rules or mottos you live and work by?
You're paying, I'm staying. That's what my dad taught me about working jobs. Period. About working hourly, especially like if like when we get paid hourly, like if they want you to stay late, if they're still paying you, you stay. But now I applied to this, like if someone comes to me with a lettering job and the story is weak or the art's not that great, if they're still paying me, I'll letter it. I mean, as long as there's nothing offensive in it. I mean, who am I to judge somebody else's art or story? I mean, I know that there's a lot, but other people, other letters, they get to a certain point and they don't want to kind of go back and do like guys that are just self-publishing, or some guy that's just starting out, like almost like not like they're above it in a way, or that they've gotten past that kind of point in their career. I don't know when the next job's going to come, and I mean, luckily I've got to the point where I'm always busy and I always have multiple jobs going on. But who's to say that's gonna keep going for the rest of my life? There might be a point where it'll be weeks or months before jobs. So I take anything that comes my way. If it's, as long as no one's promoting anything evil or anything like that, I'll let her. I don't money. Yeah, money's money, and I'll let her. So I guess that's the main thing. I mean, not to sound like it's all, I enjoy what I do and I try and make art, but you know, I got kids and a wife, so I got to get paid.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely an important priority. Uh, do you have a favorite font?
Um, there's a lot of I know I like Lambot's 100 watt. It's it looks, I don't know, it's very handwritten, kind of look to it like and what's the other one I've been using lately for the book? Imaginary Friend is one that's from Lambot that they Ryan Ferry used it for the one with the dogs go to prison. Kennel Kennel Block Blues.
Yeah, that was a great book.
The first time I saw it, and I really liked that. It's real like real cartoony looking, and the especially like with the bold. The bold for that is like super thick. Like it goes from like a pen like a pen lettering to like using a magic marker. It's so thick. I like it a lot. That's really fun. But you can only use that on certain kind of books because it's such a um, unique kind of style and kind of weird kind of style. It's, got to be kind of a cartoony kind of book to use on.
Have you ever designed your own fonts?
Have not even tried. I don't even know how. I mean, I've seen people do it. I know the guy from Blambot, Nate Picos. I know he does it, and I know the Comic Craft guys. Uh, and I've seen the programs that you would use, but I wouldn't even know how to start. I mean, it's it's a skill that I don't have. Also, because even at even like it's mostly done on computer, but to start, it is done on the page, and stupid fingers, so I can't. Uh, I would like to one day. That would be fun to, especially the crazy handwriting that I have to make something out of it. But no, I haven't tried thus far.
Yeah, it could be a pain in the butt for sure. Did you ever hear the story about the first issues of Hellboy that were lettered by John Byrne?
Uh-uh.
No, so like the initial issues were lettered by John Byrne, who was like kind of introducing his new digital kind of lettering system that he had created. But the problem was that he created it off of Dave Gibbons' letters for Watchmen. So like the original Hellboys look exactly like the Watchmen lettering, and there was some controversy because Byrne didn't ask or anything. They just script the guy's script, and it was pretty contentious. I'm not sure if they ever went back and redid it, but when you find an old issue of Hellboy, you can just totally see the Gibbonsness of those letters. Do you have any projects coming up that you want to talk about?
A lot of stuff that we got announced right before all the quarantine stuff, and then all that stuff got pushed back. Um, the last issue of Olympia is coming out soon. That got pushed back because of the quarantine. Um, um, Chain to the Grave from IDW. It's the first thing I've done with IDW. It got pushed back because of all of this stuff, but that book's really fun with I'm gonna have to remember names. Uh, and then I read this question beforehand, and I should have written stuff down. Brian Wickman, I think, is the writer, and the artist is Kate Farina, I think. But Chain to the Grave, that's going to be a really cool book. I mean, I've done the first 2 issues, maybe 3 issues. It's going to be really great when it comes out. Trying to think of other cool stuff that down the road that's already been announced. Um, there's a couple things I have coming out with Mad Cave that I can't remember that have been announced, but those are going to be cool. So if you see my name on a Mad Cave book, know that's going to be good. I can't think if they've been announced though. Dang it. It's Terminal Punks. That book's been announced. I can't think of anybody's name. God dang it. Terminal Punks though, it's a book about a punk band who gets stuck in an airport with on their plane also was like some animals that got like mutated, so they're like locked in like a lockdown with these they get stuck inside lockdown with all these mutant animals and have to like fight their way out. It's a crazy cool little book, a lot of punk really punk looking, but also a lot of humor. If you're into punk music, the humor in it would be great. A lot of references and mentions of like punk culture and punk music.
Nice. Sorry, what was the name of the book again?
Terminal Punks.
Nice. I'll have to keep an eye out for that for sure. That sounds really neat.
Remember anybody's name? Good lord.
Yeah.
I hate mentioning stuff and not being able to credit people.
Last question. Do you have a dream project? Like, if you could work on any book, what would you choose?
Well, I mean, like I said, I love Green Arrow, so being able to work on a Green Arrow book one day would be awesome. Um, I mean, anything really with like DC or Mar. I mean, working for DC and Marvel would be cool. You know, to work on like especially on like a character that's been around forever, like being part of, you know, Batman's long list of people that have ever worked on Batman or Spider-Man or something like that. Um, no, Deadpool would be fun because Deadpool's got all the kind of unique kind of the lettering for his like his words and his captions are all got, you know, the real unique style to them with the yellow and also most of the violent the action in Deadpool books, so they get lots of fun sound effects and everything. Um, I mean I think because I also, you know, try and do a little bit of writing too. The thing that I would love to do was there was a book that uh, Keith Giffen created in the '80s with DC called Heckler. That I would, if there was some way to make that book again, and for me to be writing it and lettering it, I would be very happy because that book, it was, you know, like a stand-up comedian that was a superhero on the side, and Keith Giffen always, I mean, he was an amazing writer in general for all kinds of books, but you know, funny books were always really great from him. With the Ambush Bug and the JL Justice League Unlimited, or not Unlimited, International, Justice League International, you know, funny books and all that kind of stuff. Fun comics. I'd love to be able to do something like that.
Nice. Yeah, this is the like third time I think Giffen's been mentioned as like just this like touchstone kind of person in comics. His stuff is a lot of fun. I grew up reading the Justice League stuff, so it's just like burned in my brain. And I don't know. I like when superheroes smile. So
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, I can enjoy like a dark and violent kind of book, but fun, you know, fun stories. And I mean, even I mean, you can be funny and violent too. But I mean, uh, being able to like I said, smile and read a book and being able to go, oh, that was fun, is great. I mean, that's definitely one of my favorite kind of stories or books that are like that. I mean, reading something dark and when you're done reading it, you feel like you've changed because you've read this dark thing. That's, you know, that can hit the right spot sometimes too.
yeah,
Um, but fun, you know, fun comics definitely my are going to be always on the top of my list.
yeah, me too. I think that as far as the art part of that, Doc Shanner has got that market like corner. He's just is so fun, so light, and it's nice to when you have something that's like more life affirming than kind of than just like this dark kind of.
Especially in times like this. I mean, there's so much negative already going around. Like you don't need to go to fiction to see something messed up. I mean, you can just read the or watch the news to see that.
Yeah, for sure.
Where the good guys win at the end, and or people cracking jokes and then just enjoying life. It's nice to be able to see people enjoy life.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny the last, like, I don't know, ever since the 80s, that's kind of been on the way out. And you just gotta wonder if, like, a lot of the personal discord or all the creator drama that happens is the idea that these people are kind of just entrenched in this, like, kind of dark, gritty negativeness. Maybe people, like, would be more inclined to be friends or something if they wrote friendlier superheroes. But anyways, thanks very much, Micah, for sitting down with us. This was a lot of fun. You're definitely the biggest name we've had on so far. So,
Me being the biggest name, that's a good feeling. But also, uh, am I your first guest? I mean,
oh man, no, it's all good. And especially, like, I don't think I've listened to a lot of podcasts, and very few letters ever come on them. So I really wanted to make sure we got some diversity of talent and people who are involved in the process. So
yeah, I love doing shows. I love talking, and cause I mean, for the most part, I just sit at home lettering. I don't really get out, and most of the friends I have are friends I have online through lettering and through comic books, and none of them live in Virginia, or if they do, they don't live anywhere near me. So like, being able to have a face-to-face conversation with someone is nice.
yeah, man, for sure. Well, thanks again, Micah, and keep on making comics.
I'll thank you too, man. Hopefully we can work together again sometime.
For sure.
Thanks again, Micah, for coming on the show. This has been another episode of Nico G Art and Comics. It's time to get back to the drawing board.